What is going on, everyone? Griffin here, coming at you with some Switchblade gameplay, and today we're going to be talking about the problem with aim assist in Rogue Company. So let's head over and let's talk about it. So before we go any further, I want to preface this video by saying I am in no way, shape, or form attacking or singling out any of the controller players for Rogue Company. Okay, I know that anytime this topic is ever brought up, even with the developers, that it feels like a personal attack on people because they're playing on something that a lot of people that play mouse and keyboard feels is inferior, and a lot of people that's on controller feels that mouse and keyboard is superior. So it's not that argument. It's not that deep. I don't want people to think into it. I don't want people to I don't want to get blown up with comments and all this other stuff about, well, you just hate the fact that controller players need this blah, 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 blah to be able to compete with mouse and keyboard. That's not the case whatsoever. First of all, I want to preface the video with that because I want to get that out of your mind right now. Rogue Company has a massive problem with aim assist. 110%, because I have, believe it or not, been playing the game with a controller as of recent, just to get the full Rogue Company experience under my belt, and so that I could address a topic like this in the future. And one thing that has become very apparent is the fact that aim assist specifically for newer generation consoles and also PC is almost soft aimbot, because whenever you aim at someone and the controller does all of the work for you, the aim assist does all of the work for you. You don't have to worry about adjusting for recoil. You don't have to worry about having any type of movement, any type of skill associated with the game. That is broken, in my opinion. Now, the problem with aim assist that I can tell is the fact that aim assist in most major games has been crunk all the way up as high as it could possibly go, because that provides some type of cushion or buffer for controller players to feel like that they are being successful at the game versus mouse and keyboard players, right? Because mouse and keyboard players do not get that added benefit of being able to look at someone and hard locking on someone and being able to burn them down. They actually have to control the weapon with the mouse. Now, some people will argue, and that's fine. People can argue that it's easier to control recoil. It's easier to do all this stuff with a mouse and keyboard. It's easier to do movement things. It's easier to do this. You have a whole keyboard here where you can put, inputs on every single key if you wanted to be able to make things happen. And you're absolutely correct about that. But that comes down to a developer problem. Why are you making the game so overly complicated with your control input that you have to resort to binding multiple things to multiple keys on the controller? That comes down to a ease of access and a developer issue at that point. Now, whenever you're playing with a controller in Rogue Company, it does do this soft aimbot thing. There's no type of scale that's associated with it, right? It's whenever you get into this optimal range, and the optimal range isn't dependent on the weapon, it's dependent on how close your proximity to someone is. It is going to initiate that magnetism. It's going to initiate that initial grab that happens and allow you to do what you need to do. Now, that should not be the case in any game whatsoever, in my opinion, right? Because you should have these variables that factor into how good your aim assist is. This goes from COD to Apex to Rogue Company to every single multiplayer shooter that's crossplay out there. You should have something out there that gives you these different variables. If you're playing with a sniper rifle, whenever you ADS, if you want to have aim assist, if the developers put aim assist in, that's when you have aim assist. If you're playing with something that is classified as a DMR or a marksman rifle, then the aim assist up close is almost non-existent, but the aim assist at those medium to longer ranges is really, really strong. Assault rifles should be very good mid and somewhat good close and somewhat good long. It should be this floating variable that happens with the aim assist dependent on the weapons that you pick up. None of the games seem to have that whatsoever. None of them. And the way that a lot of gamers get around and kind of skirt around this whole idea is the fact that if they pick up a weapon especially in like Call of Duty or something like that, and they have a sight on it or a scope that magnetizes in, but not like in a sniper fashion, and just an overall broad, like 3 or 4 times zoom in, then that allows them to get that aim assist at those longer ranges. So Call of Duty kind of has it figured out, but not entirely, right? Because it is stupidly broken when you are playing against people that are controller whenever they're up in close quarters engagements, regardless of what weapon that they are running. And that doesn't feel good, in my opinion. Now, I know that there's a huge disparity that happens between these console generations because we're still in the middle of this transitional period of PlayStation 4 versus PlayStation 5, Xbox One versus Xbox Series SX, all these kinds of things, right? So you have this inferior hardware, this outdated hardware that has a max FPS count of 60 FPS. Then you also have the newer generation that is doubling and sometimes more what that initial FPS is. But instead of Rogue Company going in there and using the Apex model on how they design their aim assist, where they have these variables, right? They have, for this console generation, hard locked on this FPS, this is what the aim assist values are going to be. And then whenever you step up to the next logical step and the next FPS step, then the aim assist drops off a little bit to try to maintain a consistent aim assist across the board. And that's the way that Rogue Company should have done it, in my opinion. Rogue Company went in there and upped the aim assist like crazy to try to help out the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One players. And in the process, they made it soft aimbot for everything, for everyone that has access to any type of FPS over 60. This is an overarching industry problem with crossplay, aim assist, and multiplayer games in that fashion. I'm sure that X Defiant, when it comes out, is going to have a very similar issue. I know that the new Call of Duty game that comes out and the new Warzone that accompanies it is going to have a very same problem, because the developers feel it's like, well, if we make it strong enough to where we can get a plateaued 50-50 win rate whenever it comes down to console and controller players versus mouse and keyboard players, then hey, we're doing the job that we need to do. But that's not exactly correct, right? Whenever you start looking at these variables and you have a very, very, very small player base, like I would say that mouse and keyboard players on Rogue Company factor about 5% of the overall players, if that, maybe 3% of the overall players. And then you have the rest of the players that are playing on controller, and you're saying, well, it's a 50-50 win rate, and the hit percentages and the damage percentages and everything are equaling out to the same. And it's like, okay, well, let's say you have a group of 100 people and you have 5 people playing on mouse and keyboard that are decent at the game, and you have 95 people that are playing on controller that are across all different skill ranges, from your pro players, like your competitive players, which is exactly what they use controller, all the way down to people that just install the game. You have this wide spectrum of players that are playing on controller, so that is going to actually pull that percentage down quite significantly. You're going to have this weird graph where it's like the lower players on the spectrum is going to be at like a 5% win rate, but your really, really good players are going to be at like a 90% win rate. Whenever you factor everything in, it's going to even itself out on their side. Whereas on the mouse and keyboard side, you have 5 people that are like somewhat decent at the game, and there's not much disparity in that skill gap. Therefore, it maintains a pretty consistent percentage across the board. That is the problem with aim assist and looking at these statistics the way that the developers are looking at these statistics. They're not looking at how it actually factors into a real legitimate match, a real legitimate game. And the things that happen whenever you're playing Rogue Company with a controller makes absolutely no sense. First of all, we don't have this dynamic aim assist that we should realistically have. Also, there's things that happen that cause your aim assist to go away completely. There's things that happen where you continue to get aim assist whenever you're shooting someone that's moving behind a wall, and you're still getting hit markers. Now, aim assist, like super strong aim assist, plus terrible servers equals miserable experience for players. And that's exactly what's happening here. Whenever I'm playing with my controller and I'm shooting someone that's moving and I'm tracking them perfectly and they get behind a wall and I'm still doing damage and I'm still getting hit markers on people, there's something going on there. The aim assist is pulling into and continuing those hits while the servers can't keep up with what's going on, and it's causing people to get shot and or down behind cover, and that feels absolutely terrible. We've all experienced. Nobody out there can tell me that they haven't experienced getting behind a wall, getting behind something, a piece of cover, and being behind the cover for a while, at least 5 seconds or longer, and still getting hit while behind cover when there's legitimately no way the person that's shooting at you can hit you. That is the server issues. You mix the server issues with the aim assist issues, you get this weird, like, unrealistic, inconsistent experience whenever you're playing the game. Therefore, you don't know how long you can peek out and have to dip back into cover. You don't know if you're going to be able to make it from one piece of cover to another piece of cover before you get down. You don't know if whenever you roll, if it's going to cause that aim assist to go away. You don't know if whenever you jump, it's going to cause that aim assist to go away. You don't know if you throw a smoke grenade, if it's actually going to do what smoke grenades are supposed to do in Rogue Company and stop the aim assist from happening, because sometimes those things just either happen or they don't happen. There's no rhyme or reason to it. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It's like the aim assist is tied to the health bar of the characters. And whenever the characters do something to make that health bar go away, the aim assist goes away. That should not be a factor whatsoever. You should always have at least some semblance of aim assist whenever you're playing the game, and that aim assist value should be something that is floaty depending on what type of weapon you're running and how you're engaging the enemy. If you're playing with a DMR and you're up close on someone, then no, you shouldn't have aim assist as good as you have it in the current base Rogue Company right now. Just like whenever you're playing with an SMG, you shouldn't have the same aim assist values across the map that you do up close. That's just unrealistic completely. And they wonder why SMGs are one of the most played weapon classes, why SMGs are like always the most broken weapons in the game. That's why. It comes down to the fact that you can down someone from across the map. When I use the mouse and keyboard on some of these SMGs, I actually have to actively control the recoil of them. I have to actively try to keep the cursor on that person to continue hitting them. I don't have that issue whenever I play with the controller. I aim at someone and they go down. That's all that happens. It's getting to the point now across the entire spectrum of gaming that it's almost becoming laughable whenever you have players that play controller that are like, yeah, I used to play mouse and keyboard, but it doesn't make sense for me to play mouse and keyboard because the controller is so strong. The controller does everything for you. You don't have to worry about all this stuff. And that's from every game, from Call of Duty to Apex to Rogue Company to every major game that's out there right now. And it's probably going to be the same way in X Defiant. Every game that has crossplay, except for Overwatch, right, has some type of like this extreme aim assist. So I would really like to see a hard petition, a hard look from the industry as a whole into not only like the meta topic that we talked about last week, but also the aim assist topic. Do we really need it to be this strong? Do we really need it to be this one and done thing that's been put into games and that's been basically default for years and years and years at this point? The industry's changed, technology has changed, things have changed, and it doesn't seem like the things, the tools that they give you have changed whatsoever. It's like they just upped everything. But be sure to let me know what you think in the comments down below. What are your thoughts industry-wide, gaming-wide, on aim assist as a whole? And I think that before people start leaving comments, I want you to please think about this as unbiased as humanly possible, okay? Because I know a lot of people's like I said at the beginning, a lot of people's going to feel personally attacked by this topic, and that is not my point, and that is not my intention, is to personally attack anybody. It's to have a legitimate conversation about the issues that are coming with modern games. So be sure to let me know what you think in the comments. Also, be sure to check that description for links to Facebook, Discord, and Twitter. Those are the places to contact me. If you haven't already, please be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. If you've already subscribed to the channel, then consider hitting that join button to become one of the 256 crew members. Lastly, on Thursdays starting at 11 p.m. Central Time and Sundays starting at 10 a.m. Central Time, I will be streaming here on YouTube. So if you are interested and available, please feel free to stop by and say hello there. Thanks for watching, guys.